Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for June 29th. Today I'm going to talk about expansions for Imperial Settlers and Ashes, the new games Myth and Little Circuses, as well as the Kickstarter for Layers. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Life News. On Monday, I released a recap of my experience at Origins Game Fair, which was 2 weekends ago. And I go over 11 new games that I played. So these are either brand new games that have just hit market or haven't even hit market yet, but are about to. And I kind of give you my views on each of those. So that's a thing you should definitely check out if you're interested in some of the upcoming games and kind of my take on them. And I'd appreciate it because yay. Okay, on to board game news. Imperial Settlers is getting its 6th faction. This is going to be the Aztecs. This is the 4th expansion for Imperial Settlers. It's going to add prayer actions and blessing tokens, and these add some push your luck mechanics where you give some resources to draw a certain number of cards off the top of the deck, and if they're a certain color, then you get more resources. So there's a little bit of luck involved with that. It's going to have a new faction board, Aztec faction deck, blessing tokens, as well as expansion cards for existing factions. Ashes, Rise of the Phoenixborn, the popular LCG, has released info on 2 upcoming deck expansions that they're going to be releasing at Gen Con, along with new Phoenixborns. The first deck is going to be with the Phoenixborn Leo Sunshadow. It's going to use Charm Dice and have 42 new cards. And the second is Victoria Glassfire. It's going to use Illusion Dice and include 38 new cards. Lately, Ashes has been building some steam, and it's one of my favorite LCGs on the market right now. So if you haven't checked it out yet, now's a great time to jump in. There's still there's a lot of stuff for it, but it's not crazy overwhelming yet, like Netrunner and stuff like that. So I recommend it. Myth, or Mythy, I don't know, it has an E on the end, I don't know why, is a kid-friendly game from Japanese designer Koji Malta. This is going to be a 2 to 5 player push your luck game. It looks a lot like thematically Mice and Mystics, where you all play mice and you're trying to save a princess from a dragon's tower. I don't know why you're mice if you're saving them from a dragon. It seems like you should be saving her from a cat or something, but I don't know, whatever. It's Japanese, don't ask questions. So I guess if you have had your fill of Mice and Mystics, this is going to be interesting to you. Little Circuses is the new game from IDW. It's designed by Kevin Wilson. In this game, you play traveling circus managers and you're competing to collect the best attractions for your circus. This is going to be a 1 to 7 player game, and it's the first in a line called Table for 7, which is games that IDW is going to be producing that fit 7 or more players, but play like games and not just like party games. So I'm pretty excited about that. As you know, if you watch this, I'm always excited about large player count games, so sounds good. The Kickstarter for this week is for Layers. It's a 2 to 5 player game that sees you laying tiles to build your layers, competing to quickly get to the center of the layers or dungeons or whatever you're doing, where you get the legacy. The legacy turns the player who gets it, so the first player there, evil, and now all the other players have to team up to try to defeat that player, and you team up by now going through the layers that you've just built. It's a really cool, different take on a game. I haven't seen anything quite like this, so that's exciting. I really love the artwork. It's old school D&D dungeons with like the cross-hatching and stuff like that, with really interesting character design, so that's all very cool. It is $27 right now on Kickstarter, so if that sounds interesting to you, back that. All right, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, as well as go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Chris Bryan Games. Also, make sure you check out the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that I am a part of that releases every week. The link is in the description below. This week's question comes from @DanielSolis, and he asked, I've seen many methods for culling collections, especially games that have gone unopened, unplayed. What's your policy? I'm not great at this. Up until now, I mostly just math trade, and it's pretty clear to me which games I math trade, just games that don't get played that often. I think that I am going to be doing a big cull of like a third of my collection in the near future. I used to buy a ton of games, and I would buy a ton of games that I hadn't played yet just because I was the person in the group that bought the games. Lately, in the past year or so, I've joined a lot more board game groups, so I get to play games way more often before I buy them, so I don't buy nearly as many games. So I have a lot of games that I bought, I played once or twice, they were okay, and I'm never going to play them again. I've seen a couple different methods. I like the put a sticky note on all your board games, and then take it off when you play it. And then after, like, say 6 months, you can look at all of your board games that have sticky notes left on them and go like, I'm not going to play that game again, am I? And you don't have to get rid of all of them that have sticky notes on them. There might be some that have sentimental value, or some that you really love that just don't hit the table as often as you like, or for whatever reason. But it certainly gives you a better idea of going like, wow, I haven't played this game in 6 months. I haven't thought about this game in 6 months. Or you can do it a year or whatever. It also then can encourage you visually to play those games that don't hit the table that often that you really love. And you go like, oh yeah, that game I love. It came out 5 years ago, so I never think about playing it because it's not new and all that. But I should totally play that game because it's a good game. So that's good. I think my collection's way bigger than it needs to be, honestly. And the thing that mainly keeps me from culling my collection is it's just a pain if I actually want to get the value from the games and like sell them on the geek market or do an auction or whatever, and then I have to ship them, and it's just such a pain. And I don't just want to kind of dump them and not get the value out of them, so it's kind of like a big process that I'm going to do all at once. But you'll probably notice later this year that my shelves are much emptier, or at least way reorganized. All right, that's a good question. Thanks for asking it. And thanks for tuning into the news, and I will see you next week.